How you doing, Jersey? Got some bad news for you. It's looking like the taxes New Jerseyans pay on gasoline, probably one of the only things we pay less taxes on than the rest of the country, is going to go up. Governor Chris Christie, who once said he'd never raise taxes on anything, is now saying he never said he'd never raise taxes on anything. And when it comes to a gas tax, everything is on the table. And reporters were so shocked when he said this, they had to ask him again. He got a little cranky.
Is there something about everything's on the table that is confusing to you, and you just want me to give you a quote that you can then say about gas tax? I'm not going to give you a quote. I'm going to say everything is on the table. So you can then, through your ingenuity, figure out everything's on the table is on the table. When I say everything's on the table, everything's on the table.
Hold on, I'm using my ingenuity. I think everything's on the table. So wow, things have got to be bad, and they are. But for an issue that people feel so strongly about, the gas tax and how we got into this mess is something that a lot of people don't seem to understand. So here goes. The year is 1984. Prince has the #1 song. The governor is Tom Kean.
How you doing, Jersey?
He created the Transportation Trust Fund. It raised money from the gas tax, taxes paid by gasoline producers, and tolls. Oh, and it could borrow money, but only 10-year bonds. It had to pay them off every 10 years, no long-term debt. And then Kean, a Republican, raised the gas tax a little bit, so this thing could pay as it goes. Think about this, that gas tax, 14.5 cents per gallon, has not gone up since 1988. It's not a percentage, so it doesn't go up with inflation. In real dollars, it just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. We now have the second lowest gas tax in the nation behind Alaska. Most of their roads are like gravel, right? Now in New Jersey, it is super expensive to build roads. We have crowded roads, cold winters with lots of salt spread everywhere, strong labor unions, which drives up the cost of labor, and I would guess every now and then some corruption and graft sneaks into the process. Now, Governor Kean probably should have named this thing the Transportation Mistrust Fund, because ever since he's left office, it seems like governors and legislatures have been trying to outdo each other and who could be more reckless and irresponsible in driving this thing towards a financial cliff. Rather than pay as they went, they simply busted out the credit cards. This graph of Transportation Trust Fund debt is from 2010. You probably don't even want to see the last 4 years. It just gets worse. By the time Governor Christine Whitman took office, it was clear the trust fund was in trouble. She proposed a 4 cents a gallon increase in the gas tax, and Democrats in the legislature, Democrats, killed it. So Whitman took those 10-year bonds and stretched them to 20 years. It's like a mortgage, right? You stretch it longer, you pay more in the end. By 2003, it's clear the trust fund is headed for disaster, so Governor Jim McGreevey takes bold, decisive action. He forms a committee. That committee recommended a 12.5 cents per gallon hike in the gas tax. We must act quickly, McGreevey is quoted as saying, and he did act quickly. He quickly borrowed tons more money. And Corzine's way to fix this problem was to stretch those now 20-year bonds out over 30 years. Genius. By the time Corzine leaves office, we are very close to the point at which we are at now, where all the money in the fund is just going to pay off the old debt. There's not even money for any new projects. Enter Governor Chris Christie. 3 years ago, he announces this plan.
Plan that you see in front of you today, and that will be the Transportation Capital Plan for the next 5 years, goes from the current plan, which has 10% pay-as-you-go, to 37% pay-as-you-go.
That didn't happen. We're at about 2% now. Now we are very close to the point where we probably can't even borrow anymore. Now, none of us want to pay higher gas tax, but after these knuckleheads have put us in this deep a hole, you got any better ideas?